Hello my friends and welcome to the 15th class in our writing course. Today my friends, and after we have finished 14 classes talking about words, classify them into content, function words, and talking about phrases and classifying them into noun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition phrases, then talking about clauses, independent and dependent clauses, then talking about sentences and classifying them into simple, compound, and complex sentences. And before we start talking about paragraphs and classify them into four types, and then talking about the parts of a paragraph, then going through each part in isolation, dissect it into depth, I would like to solve a very big problem which a lot of students around the world have. According to a survey conducted last year, more than 90% of English learners couldn't answer simple questions like how do we use a hyphen or an exclamation point, and more than 70% of them didn't know how to use the question mark properly. Today, my friends, we are going to try to start in class 15, then after that 16 and 17. In these three classes, we are going to try to cover all punctuation marks. So then after that, we are going to start talking about a paragraph as long as we can use these punctuation marks into the sentences. Now, my friends, today we are going to cover punctuation marks, the period, the question mark, exclamation point, and if we still have time, we're going to go through the hyphen. Now, my friends, let's start with the question mark. As you all know, my friends, a question mark from its name used in questions, specifically direct questions. As you all know, we have two types of questions, direct questions and indirect questions. In the direct questions, we use the auxiliary or the WH question. Generally, we have two types of direct questions, the yes-no questions. Those begin with an auxiliary like do, does, who, have, has, am, is, are, was, where, had, or they start with a modal. In here we have two examples. Do you speak Spanish? The answer is either yes, I do, or no, I don't. Can you come with me? The answer should be either yes, I can, or no, I cannot. In here, my friends, those are yes-no questions or short questions, while the other type of question is the WH questions, like how are you, how old are you, where are you from, and the others. And the answers of these questions should be full sentences. In here, my friends, we're not talking about questions. We are only talking about question marks so that I will not go through such a complicated case. Well, the second use of a question mark is to be used within a quotation. And a quotation, my friends, is when you report what someone else said. Generally, a quotation is when you report someone, for example, famous like Shakespeare, like a famous politician, a famous athlete, or a famous actor. So in here, my friends, within a quotation, we have two situations. The first one, when the quoted part is a whole question. In here, my friend, the question mark goes inside the quotation mark. In this example here, she asked, are you okay? And before I start here, my friends, I would like to mention a very important point. You all see that sometimes we have this type of quotation marks and sometimes this type. This type is called double quotation marks, and here we have single quotation marks. Generally, those are Americans and those are British, and both of them are correct. So you can use the one you like, but generally, when you start using one of them, please try to stick to it till the end of your essay or your paragraph. Don't try to use both of them together because this could confuse the examiner. Generally, my friends, here we have she asked, are you okay? In here, my friends, I am reported what she asked. Are you okay? And everything she said in the quotation is the question or a whole question. That's why the question mark goes inside the quotation marks in here. In the other part, my friend, the quoted part is a part of the entire question. It is not a question by itself. In here, my friend, the question mark goes outside the quotation. Let's take this example. Did he really say I am not coming? So what I am reporting here, my friend, is I am not coming. And the whole question is, did he really say I am not coming? So this quotation is nothing but a part of the entire question. That's why the question mark goes outside the quotation marks. And here, my friends, the third use is to indicate a doubt or uncertainty. In here, my friends, this use is rare and informal. So generally, we avoid using question marks to indicate doubt or uncertainty. Let me give you an example here. Like we have talking, two people talking. As you all know, Marie Curie is a very famous scientist whom a lot of people believe that she is from France, but generally Marie Curie is Polish. She's from Poland. So when I tell my friend, do you know that Marie Curie is not French, she's Polish, he's going to show some uncertainty or doubt about what I said, and he could say, Marie Curie is French. And in here, my friends, the structure of the sentence is not a question, but the way the question or the way the sentence is being said refers or indicate to a doubt or uncertainty as a question. In here, say, Marie Curie is not French. Are you sure? In here, my friends, the question, the real question is here, are you sure? But the first part was not a question. It has the tone of a question, but the structure of a normal sentence. And in here, my friends, I would like to mention a very important point. Do not use a question mark in two cases. The first one, don't use it at the end of an indirect questions. Again, my friends, we said that we have direct questions and indirect questions. At the end of a direct question, we use a question mark, but at the end of the indirect question, we use generally the period or the dot, as we are going to explain later. But here, my friends, I would like to say that don't use a question mark at the end of indirect question, like this example. I wonder where Sarah is. In here, my friends, you cannot use the question mark. All you need to use is the point. The second piece of advice, my friends, or say the second note is, don't use the question mark multiple times for one question. A lot of, let's say, starters or major writers think that if you want to emphasize that this question is important, they try to write or repeat the question mark 3 or 4 times, which doesn't make any sense in English. Maybe in other cultures, for example, like the Turkish culture, the Arabic culture, generally we can write the question mark more than one time to emphasize the point. But in here, in our culture, in the English culture, we don't use it at all. So don't repeat the question mark more than one time, because there is no need to do that. Now, my friends, let's go and talk about the period, or what some people like to say, full stop or a dot. These 3 nominations are correct and you can use them interchangeably. And here, my friends, we should mention very important thing about the period. Its main function is to indicate the end of a complete thought or a statement generally. In here, my friends, the dot or the full stop refers to the end of a sentence, and it is used, for example, at the end of a declarative sentence. As you know, the declarative sentence is a normal sentence like, Sarah has finished her homework. This is a declarative sentence. A declarative sentence is like telling someone something. For example, telling news or anything else. In here, the weather is nice today. And here we use the full stop to show that the idea has finished and the message received. In the other, here, my friends, type of sentences, we have to use the dot or the full stop at the end of an imperative sentence. In the imperative sentence, generally we use it to direct others. For example, here you say, please don't make noise, or come here and have a seat. Those are imperative sentences, and as you all know, an imperative sentence, we start with the verb. Generally, we don't have a subject. And now, my friends, the second use for the period or the full stop, we use it with an abbreviation. Generally, my friends, abbreviations like the title of someone, like Mrs. Jackson, like USA, which stands for the United States of America, etc., like etc., and we have IE also, which refers, for example, like in other words. And generally, my friends, the third use, we use the period at the end of an indirect question. Now, my friends, I would like to show you the difference between the direct question and indirect question. In the indirect question, my friends, the question is being asked clearly and directly to the listener. In here we say, for example, do you speak Spanish? And I use at the end of this question the question mark, while the indirect question, I am using, for example, indirect way to ask someone. In here, for example, we say, I wonder what the children are doing now. In here, my friends, I am asking someone to go and to see the children and to tell me what they are doing, but I am not asking him or her directly. In here, my friends, the direct question of this indirect question is, what are the children doing now? This is a direct question for someone. In here, my friends, we have RSQ, which refers to reported speech question. In reported speech question, my friends, we use the dot, we don't use the question mark. In here, for example, I say, they asked me if I will stay. In here, my friends, I am reporting someone's question. For example, my friends ask me if I will stay over the night with them, and I come back to my friends and I tell them they asked me if I will stay, while the direct question of this indirect question, which is a reported speech question, is, are you going to stay? And in here, my friends, I use the question mark because this is direct question, and here I use the full stop because this is an indirect question. Now let's take this example, my friends. Can you tell me how to start this washing machine? In here, my friends, this question is direct question because the main part of this sentence is a direct question. Some students told me, teacher, tell me how to start this washing machine, but they forget to refer to can. Generally, my friends, when we start with a modal, the question with a modal or an auxiliary, it's a direct question, and we should use the question mark. While in here, my friends, I am curious why you don't want to know or to come with us. In here, my friends, I start with an indirect way of questioning. I am curious why you don't want to come with us. I haven't started with an auxiliary or a modal. That's why this is an indirect question, and the main part is an indirect question. That's why I use the dot. In here, my friends, before I finish talking about the period, I would like to mention a very important note, which is in the American English, the periods always go inside the quotation marks. When you quote someone, the dot or the full stop comes inside the quotation marks, while in British English, it goes out the quotation marks. And again, my friends, as you see here, you can use any type you want, the double quotation marks or the single ones. You can use the American way or the British way in your writing, but be careful not to use more than one pattern in one piece of writing. And in this case, the examiner will be confused and will not, for example, understand that you can use both ways and you know the difference between American or British writing styles. That's why the examiner will deduct some marks from your writing. That's why I don't prefer to vary between the British and American writing styles. Or you can, for example, vary in types of sentences, phrases, clauses, but please stick to one way in punctuation while writing a paragraph or an essay. And now, my friends, let's continue talking about the exclamation point and the hyphen. And here, my friends, as you all know, we use the exclamation point in order to express strong emotions. Generally, my friends, if you ask any linguist, what is language? The linguist is going to answer you that a language is a group of letters which make a group of words that express ideas and thoughts of people, and sometimes they express feelings. And generally, my friends, we all know that only letters cannot express the feelings of people. That's why sometimes we have to use some symbols in order to show the feelings of the speaker, of the writer in a specific part. And here, my friends, for example, I here use the exclamation point to express strong emotions and feelings like excitement, joy, anger, fear, etc. Let me give you two examples here. The first one is, I can say to you, we won the champion, we are the best. And here, my friends, when I talk with excitement, I should use some symbols to show the reader. For example, I'm speaking, for example, here, my friends, I am writing a story, and in one part, in one scene in this story, there is a speaker who is speaking with an excitement, so I should refer to his excitement. If there is no excitement, for example, or no feelings, we can say, yes, we won the champion, we are the best. So in here, my friends, using the exclamation point shows the reader how the writer or the speaker wanted to express feelings. And here, my friends, we say, be careful, watch out, they are coming. And here, my friends, again, we are showing strong feelings for the listener or for the reader generally. The second use is to show emphasis. And here, my friends, an example, it's very important you come on time. When you want to emphasize on one point while speaking, we use the exclamation point or exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. Again, my friends, the second example, she is absolutely the best student in the class. And here, my friends, again, as I said, the teacher, for example, wants to emphasize on a point for the parents of a student, telling him that your son or your daughter is the best student at my class. The third use, my friends, is to express surprising or astonishment. And here, for example, when something unexpectedly happens, for example, your friend tells you that he or she is getting married, and you say, you are getting married, are you kidding? And here, my friends, you use, you're getting married, congratulations. So in here, you show or you give some life to what is written, because generally, my friends, language is nothing but letters combined together to make voices, to express thoughts or ideas. But the feelings, generally, for the feelings, a language cannot or cannot conveys the full message of feelings even if we use the exclamation marks, but using the exclamation marks or exclamation point makes it more emotional for the reader. And here, my friends, I can't believe how beautiful you have become. You talk to a girl, for example, your nephew or your niece, and you see her after 5 or 6 years, and you tell her, oh, you were a girl, you were a small, you were a little girl, now you have become a young lady, and look at yourself, how beautiful you have become. And here, my friends, I would like to mention one point for the exclamation mark. An exclamation mark or an exclamation point, my friends, is important in our writing, but don't overuse it. Think of an exclamation point as the spice in food. If you add a lot of spice in your food, it's going to be very spicy, and you cannot carry on eating it, while a small, or let's say an appropriate amount of this spice goes long way. Now, my friends, we are going to talk about hyphen, and a hyphen generally, my friends, is used to connect words or parts of words, and we have some uses. There are 5 here. After I finish, I will write the other 2 here. And here, my friends, the first one, we use a hyphen creating compound words. Generally, my friends, compound content words. For example, here we have compound adjectives. Sarah is a 5-year-old girl. So in here, my friends, I have an adjective of 3 words, an adjective which is made of 3 words, 5-year-old. But in here, I would like to mention a very important point. When the adjective contains a number and we use a hyphen, there is no need to add the plural s for the noun with the adjective. And here, my friends, all of these 3 words, this is adjective, noun, noun, all of them, they have become one compound adjective. So generally, an adjective cannot be classified as singular or a plural. And when we add the hyphens, we make them all one adjective. That's why we don't use the plural s. While if I say Sarah is a 5-year-old girl, here 5 is an adjective, a number like plays the role of an adjective. Years here is a noun. It is not a part of a compound adjective as it is here. So that's why we use the plural s. We say Sarah is a 5-year-old girl, while here we say Sarah is a 5-year-old girl. Again, my friends, when the noun is a part of a compound adjective and it's preceded by a number, we don't use the plural s, while when it is a noun and it is not a part of an adjective, we should use the plural s. The other example here, we say, my friends, we bought a high speed, 2 words. Here we have high, an adjective. The word speed is a noun, but when we join them together using the hyphen, they become a compound adjective. High speed and well-known brand car. So those are 2 compound adjectives. The first compound adjective is made up of 2 words. The second one is made up of 3 words. The second type of compound words, my friend, are compound nouns. And here we have examples like mother-in-law. Here there is a hyphen here. Mother-in-law, editor-in-chief, and passer-by. The third type here, my friends, I would like to mention is the phrasal verbs used as nouns. Generally, my friends, you all know that sometimes a phrasal verb could be used as a noun in here, like a breakup. In here, this is a noun, not a verb. A checkup and the go ahead. I have an example here. The breakup with Sarah made Jack sad. Here, the breakup with Sarah, as you see, my friend, is a noun phrase functioning as the subject of the sentence, and the verb is made. And here, my friends, the word breakup is a noun, and it's a part of a noun phrase, and it is not a verb. They broke up for no reason. And here, my friends, broke up is a verb phrase, and as you see here, my friends, when we use the phrasal verb as a verb, we don't use the hyphen, while when we use it as a noun, we add a hyphen. The second use here, my friend, is joining prefixes and suffixes. As you here see, with certain prefixes, generally, my friends, we have some prefixes which can be used without hyphens. For example, the word important, if you see, we say unimportant, possible, impossible. But there are some, let's say, prefixes that cannot be used unless we use the hyphen with them always. Like the word ex-president, and here we have the ex is a prefix which means former. Ex-president means a former president. We have self-esteem and we have all-inclusive. Those, my friends, those prefixes always should be used with hyphens in here to avoid confusion. Generally, my friends, sometimes a student cannot recognize whether the letters are a part of the original root or they are added prefixes, like here, my friends, like the word recover and recover. And here we say recover. Recovers means to cover again. And here we have recover, to get better. Again, my friend, focus with me. Recover, and here I am giving a space. Recover, and here we have recover. And the third use, my friends, with the prefixes attached to a capitalized word and a number. For example, we have a pre-civil war. Generally, pre-civil, I can use it without a hyphen if the word is not capitalized. But as long as this capitalized here, my friends, we have to use a hyphen. And when the prefix is attached to a number, look here, mid 70s, or again, my friends, anti-Americans or anti-Americans, in here the word is capitalized. That's why I have to use the hyphen to avoid confusion. The third use, my friends, in writing numbers, and in here, my friends, as you see, we have two types of numbers to be used with hyphens. The first one is compound numbers. Those are numbers from 21 to 99. The second type is spelled out fractions like 2/3, 1/2, and 4/6. And now, my friends, let's take the last two uses of the hyphen, and we finish this class today. Here we have avoiding ambiguity and improving readability. And here, my friends, some words are, or some phrases are a little bit confusing. Unless we use a hyphen, they will not be understood. Let's take this example. In here we have small business owners and we have a small business owners. Again, my friends, in here, as long as I'm using a hyphen, I will understand that small business owners refers to owners of small businesses, or we call them entrepreneurs. And here, my friends, I am talking about people or businessmen with very, let's say, small companies. People call them starters, regardless to their ages. So here we have businessmen with small businesses and small companies, regardless to their ages. One of them could be 50 years old, one of them 70, the other could be 20. So regardless to their ages, their businesses are small. While in here we have small business owners. In here, my friends, we are talking about small owners of businesses, or we call them young businessmen or young businesswomen. In here, they could have, for example, very large companies, but still they are young regarding to their ages, not their companies. Here, in here, my friends, they are young businessmen or women, and we don't care for the companies whether they were very big or very small. Here, my friends, when a compound modifier include a number, it refers to the same idea here. When an adjective contains a number, and we use a noun and a number. In here, my friend, 10 minutes. The word minute generally is a noun, but when you use a hyphen with the number 10, it becomes an adjective for the break. So we say here, we took a 10-minute break. So a 10-minute break is 10 minute is an adjective for the break, which means we took 10 minutes as a break, or a break of 10 minutes. And last but not least, here, my friends, we use the hyphen dividing words at the end of a line. This is a very old use now. We type using, for example, Microsoft products like Word, Excel, Access, or any other typing softwares. In the past, my friends, we used to use the typing machines, and here we use, for example, we're writing the word unimportant. The line cannot, for example, take extra letters, so the last letter will be a hyphen, and the rest of the word will be on the other line, like the word unimportant. This is here one word, but because the line couldn't take more letters, the rest of the word jumped to the upcoming line, let's say the following line, while we use the hyphen just to refer that all of those letters belong to one word. That's it for today, my friends. I'm sorry this class was a little bit long, tiring, but as you know, we have 3 classes only to finish the punctuation marks. Then in class 18, we're going to write about paragraphs. If you don't understand a point, my friends, you can always replay this video again, and always try to play our Kahoot games, which give you an amazing opportunity to check your understanding for these points. Always, my friends, we are going to put the links of these games in the description box. Thank you again, my friends, and sorry for making this class a little bit long. Goodbye.